In the United States, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before they turn 18. This means, on average, a child is sexually abused every 10 minutes, with roughly 57,000 cases reported each year. Sexual abuse has damaged the safety, health, and well-being of millions of fragile young lives in the past 20 years alone. Yet 70% of cases still go unreported by the victims or witnesses to the abuse. Why? Because sexual abuse doesn't happen the way that we think it does. While stranger danger awareness is critically important to protecting children, most instances of child sex abuse are not committed by a stranger. Children are most often abused by a relative or another known, trusted adult. This is because most abuse is not a one-time event, but a process that begins with grooming a victim the adult perpetrator already knows. This grooming begins with what seems to the child like trust and friendship, but ends with total control and abuse, making it extremely difficult for the victim to find a way out, even to disclose or report the abuse, because the child has lost all control and fallen into a place of confusion and fear. The child may be faced with threats of harm to themselves or their family, feel embarrassed, believe somehow they will be blamed, feel no one will believe them, or fear they'll cause their family to fall apart. So most do nothing, except hope one day the abuse will stop. But child victims aren't the only ones who choose not to report abuse. Siblings, relatives, adult bystanders, and even parents often don't report. It's estimated that over 130,000 cases of abuse go unreported each year. If you are not personally in this situation, it's hard to understand why someone would not report the sexual abuse of an innocent child. But it's a reality that affects hundreds of thousands. So why would anyone who knows that a defenseless child is being abused keep this terrible secret? For many of the same reasons child victims don't report the abuse. Fear of consequences. Fear of the disruption of their normal lives. Fear that there's a chance they might be wrong. And fear of what will happen after they report the abuse to the authorities. If you're in any of these situations, it's okay to be scared. Sexual abuse is terrifying, especially when the victim is someone you care about. But when it comes to protecting children, we must overcome our fears in order to put the safety, health, and well-being of these innocent victims first. It's a social imperative. And know that if we can increase the reporting of incidents of child sex abuse, we can begin to end this silent epidemic. So what could be so frightening that it keeps witnesses to abuse from escaping this overwhelming pit of fear? What about their normal lives would be disrupted?
They'll be pariahs in the community. That affects our entire family, plus coworkers and friends.
I don't want a kid I coach to be branded a victim.
The abuser is the breadwinner in the family. My neighbors could wind up poor or even homeless.
The whole family may be separated. Where will my student go?
I was told not to tell anyone. I was told I had to keep it a secret.
Shh. These are valid fears, but they can't overshadow the social imperative that the safety, health, and well-being of children who can't protect themselves must come first. So what if we take another look at the norm people are trying to protect? Not reporting may fool others into believing they are what appears to be a happy family, but that doesn't change the terrible truth. Someone in their family is an abuser and the victim is a child. The child may be branded a victim, but the truth is they already are a victim. And reporting is the only way to change that and start them on a path to becoming a survivor. A family may be separated temporarily, but that's a short-term challenge because it means separating the child from the perpetrator of the abuse. Even if the abuser is a family's only source of income, every state has police, along with child and family services, designated specifically to help sex abuse victims. They won't have to go through this alone. And no adult should ever tell you to keep a secret, especially one that hurts you or hurts another child. The decision to report may be yours one day, or it may be a choice you're struggling with right now. Know there is always help. And there is a way to pull yourself out of this pit of fear to find the courage to report the abuse. If you keep your focus on what's most important, the safety, health, and well-being of the child. And it is always better than the alternative of leaving a child at the mercy of an abuser. The stark reality is that millions will continue to be abused if we don't protect our children. But if more witnesses to abuse report, more victims can begin to take back control of their lives. More perpetrators will be stopped, and more future victims will be protected.